Okay, guys. So recording is started. Firstly, comments about the exam. Uh, you will be getting a voucher once we will be submitting your names to PMI. Uh, we will send a list of all the participants to PMI. PMI will be issuing you the vouchers, and that voucher will be valid for you guys for 1 month, and then you can use that voucher to appear for exam. This exam is conducted by Pearson VUE. However, you can appear for this exam from your home or office. Exam will be 90 minutes long and it will have 60 questions in it. It means that you will have 1.5 minutes for each of the question. Uh, the exam is non-proctored. There will be no one invigilating you. Exam is almost like an open book exam. And basically, I'm pretty sure that you can complete exam much earlier than uh, 90 minutes. And also, okay, guys, now I'm going to share the slides. Uh, we are going to resume from the point where we ended yesterday. But before starting our discussion, I would like to ask you guys what you have understood so far, Farhan, from yesterday's session.
Basically, from yesterday's session, we understood a lot about the foundation, the three basic foundations that you said, count your context counts and things like that. So those things were clear, but I think, yet there is a lot more to it that we haven't unearthed. So it was a very basic introduction to Agile with Scrum and all. So it does open up a little bit of your thought process. But again, I think today's session will be the real session that will actually get us more thinking about disciplined Agile.
Agreed.
And of course, yesterday the browser session was very interesting for me, the
Oh,
DA
yeah.
browser, which we did
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah. True.
So, I mean, there were highlights of yesterday's where we could interact also a lot with each other. That was a good thing so that we could at least get, some of our doubts cleared,
True.
which I had. So it was a pretty interesting one and very informative for me.
True. Yeah. Thank you. And Adnan.
Yes, Doctor. We're gonna actually through, as I could say, a history of the agile, how it starts, and then we go to the frameworks of that organization using and team using like Scrum, Safe, and others.
Yeah.
Then we move to the choose the way of working like context count, guided continuous improvements, and choice is good. And we're still looking for a lot of information today from you, of course.
True. Yeah, agreed. So, guys, as Adnan and Farhan mentioned that we start talking about from predictive life cycle for software project management, and from there we discussed about different issues that was in predictive way of working, and then from there we talked about agile fundamentals of agile. We had a look on the Scrum quickly, and then we talked about that what's happening with the agile. Agile is aging. Why agile movement is aging? Uh, uh, the agile movement that was started in 2001, and they published their 4 core values and 12 principles. Are they still applicable? If not, uh, what are the items that are still applicable? What are the items that still can be improved? For example, we talked about working softwares. We must need to go beyond working software. We should be talking about consumable solutions. We really don't want to develop a software, but not the whole solution. Solution could be much more than software. Agile is much more nowadays beyond software. It is equally applicable on any type of knowledge projects, either they are electronics projects, electrical engineering projects, or even much more than that. So it means that it shouldn't be working software, it should be a consumable solution. And the definition of consumable solution is a solution our clients like to use it, okay, and also recommend others to use it. That's a consumable solution. They, and in that consumable solution, it could be software, could be hardware, can include the documentation required, uh, may include the process change as a result of that product we developed, may also talk about the organizational change that could be, change in the structure or maybe change in the system of the organization, so on, so forth. And then we also had a look on the prescriptive methods, and we have seen that why prescriptive methods are not real agile. It's more like fox agile because it is push. And in agile, we believe in pull, not in the push. I mean, we really don't want that a scrum master or agile coach or any consultant or a thought leader should be telling us what is our way of working. However, they should be guiding us how to choose our way of working. And as a team, self-organizing, autonomous team, we should be choosing our way of working. And over the period of time, we should be evolving our way of working with the help of guided continuous, with the help of guidance, and by using GCI, guided continuous improvement. Uh, Initially, we talked about just 3 points, that how discipline agile looks differently on agile as compared to other methods. Then we shifted toward discipline agile foundation. That was fundamental. And we talked about that we can explain discipline agile with the help of four things. One is mindset. The other one is people, I mean, discipline agile roles, uh, flow, the life cycles discipline agile provides us, and the practices are agile practices that discipline agile provide us in the form of a toolkit for discipline agile delivery and beyond. And these practices are shown with the help of goal diagrams, and those goal diagrams include three things. The process goals, you can also call them process outcomes, and the decision points mean, uh, while achieving our process outcomes, what decision we need to make. And then last thing was agile practices and tools that will be helpful for making those decisions. So we can really explain discipline agile with the help of these four items. Then we went in depth of all these four views. And the first thing was the principles that talk about uh, why we do what we do. I mean, what are the foundational principles? We went through all of them one by one. So I'm not repeating them. And then we talked about that how as a team we work so that we can ensure that we are doing properly and we are ensuring that we are doing it in an agile way. And lastly, uh, what are the guidelines that make us effective as a team? We went through each of them, and we discussed them. And then from there, we shifted towards the different roles that discipline agile advocate or recommend. Again, DA is agnostic, it's hybrid, it's very pragmatic. It recommend these roles, but it doesn't prescribe us that you should be only having these roles. These roles could be divided into two types. One is primary roles. The second one are the supporting roles. Let me take the pointer. Primary roles are five. Four of them are team roles, and the fifth one is the stakeholders with whom team collaborate, team interact, and work. And when we talk about the team roles, there are three roles which are same like Scrum, but with the different naming convention. For example, product owner, team members, and team lead. In Scrum, they call product owner, developers or development team, and the Scrum master. So team lead is someone who can also act as a Scrum master or senior Scrum master or chief Scrum master or an agile coach. However, this team member need not to be a different person. He or she could be part of the team itself, maybe a senior engineer. But important thing is not his or her seniority. Important thing is his or her people skills, superior people skills. And when we are studying about DA Senior Scrum Master, you can consider yourself in this role. Okay, this role interacts with the team, mean with the product owner, team members, and architecture owner. This person also interact with the stakeholders and other supporting roles. And these supporting roles could be specialists. For example, you can think of like a business analyst as a specialist or independent testers. Normally, what we say, our agile team should be a whole team. Mean it should have all the people available who can complete a work. However, sometimes it happens that there are separate teams of testers, call them testing teams. They may work in parallel with the development team. So we might have independent testing teams. Similarly, domain experts, these are the people you can think of who can help us to provide support about their domain. For example, from HR, from procurement or legal, etc. Similarly, there could be some technical experts who may join our team for a short while. For example, database administrators who can help us to connect with the database or who can help us to do some database testing, or security experts who can help us in doing the penetration testing, or could be exploratory testers who can help us to conduct the exploratory testing. That is a specialized way of testing our product. And then we might have some integrators, especially the people who can help us to integrate our solution with the legacy solutions already exist in an organization. As a team leader, you must be working with all those, not only with your team, stakeholders, and supporting roles, but beyond that. That would be interacting with other teams, interacting with the product portfolio or program managers or the enterprise level architects or maybe marketing team, etc. It is very important that team lead, he or she could be senior developer or senior tester. He could be intermediate or junior tester or developer. But important thing is he or she should have good or superior people skills. I mean, should have like emotional intelligence, conflict resolution skills, negotiation skills, problem resolving skills, communication skills, empathy, so on, so forth. So when we will be learning about DA Senior Scrum Master, always keep yourself in the shoes of team lead. Then we looked on the naming convention. There is no standard for Agile. Everybody knows about it. There are many methods, many frameworks, but there is no standard, mean that naming conventions are not standard. Few of the methods, for example, Scrum or Spotify, they give names which are pretty unique. For example, for daily stand-up or daily meeting, Spotify call it huddle. Scrum call it daily Scrum. Okay, but what discipline Agile believes, it says that because now Agile is, or even Agile teams not only work within themselves, but they also work with all different stakeholders, executives, sponsors, clients who might not even aware of daily Scrum or Huddle. So DA believes in generic naming convention, mean the conventions that should make some sense. For example, daily coordination meeting. By looking on the name, everybody can understand it is a daily meeting for the purpose of coordination. So we talked about it, and then from there we went to next level and we talked about two things. One is context count, and the second was choice is good. Context count mean that each individual, each team member, uh, each team, each organization is unique. It means that their context is unique too. Uh, they might like one type of life cycle to choose. Another team might like another type of life cycle to choose. Even within the same program or within a same product where there are like dozens of teams working together, might be one team like to use Scrum, other team like to use, for example, Kanban, etc. So it's good if you have choices for them. Whatever works for them, they should be able to choose. So for that purpose, DA provides 6 different choices of the life cycles. Two of them are for the projects, that is one agile, you can think of time boxed, okay, or iterations, and other is lean or Kanban, that is more like flow based, and there is no time boxing, no iteration, then work is continuous. And then there are two life cycles which are for product teams or long-standing stable teams who are continuously working. Uh, and these are the teams who might be working on the same product for a year or two. Think about Amazon products or Google products where teams are working continuously. For them, continuous delivery life cycle is very important, or mean more effective, not important. And again, there are two life cycles. One is agile, the other one is lean. The difference we already know about them. And on top of that, Discipline Agile provides two more life cycles. One is exploratory, that is based on lean startups. And this is for those teams who are working, for example, on the prototypes, or we call them MVPs. Uh, you know about MVP, isn't it? Minimum viable products. Okay. Uh, and then there is another life cycle that is based on program where there could be more than one teams. There could be sub teams, and from those sub teams there could be the teams of product owners, there could be the teams of scrum masters, there could be the teams of architecture owners, so on so forth. So in total 6 life cycles. Any questions so far? After that, uh, we discussed one of the life cycle in detail. This life cycle is agile life cycle for the project teams. It is similar to Scrum, but it has a few more things than Scrum. We talked about them, and these things are team, discipline agile teams. They work in an enterprise aware manner. These are the teams who also work closely with IT operations and support. These are the teams who are no doubt self-organizing and very much autonomous, but still they will be governed, and they should be governed in a good way. And we call them lean governance, where governance should be done based on lightweight milestones that will be focusing more on the risks than the documentation. And we have seen the different recommendations of those lightweight risk-based milestones. For example, at the end of our initiation phase, the team vision should be aligned with the stakeholder vision. Similarly, another uh, milestone is proven architecture. We also call it walking skeleton. The purpose is, before developing the whole product, let's develop one or two features and go through the whole architecture for these one or two features so that we can clearly see that the work we are going to do is viable or not. The technology we are using is viable or not, so on and so forth. If our working skeleton is ready or our architecture is proved, it means that there are strong chances the work we are going to do will be successful. On top of that, there are many other uh, milestones that we talked about them yesterday, including continued viability, sufficient functionality at the end of development work, and then when transition is started, our work should be ready to go into the production. And when our customers use them, our stakeholders use them, they should be delighted. So these are the risk-based, lightweight milestones that can help the senior management to govern the team in an awesome way. Any question about it? Then by taking the same life cycle, the agile life cycle that is for the project teams, uh, we shifted our discussion towards the fourth item that can help us to understand discipline agile, and it was the process goals. What are the process goals? These are the activities that we do while we are doing our work. What they did is they divided these activities into four sections. Some activities that we do at the time of inception or initiation, the activities we do during the development or construction, you can also call it engineering phase, and the activities that we do to transit our solution into the production. And then there are some ongoing activities, and they are around 6. These activities should be done throughout uh, the product development or throughout the project execution. I also commented that recently Discipline Agile, because they are evolving their toolkit continuously, they recently added 3 more uh, ongoing activities, and those activities are measure outcomes, and then um, another process goal was on the matrices, and the last was on the intake. We will be talking about intake, or they call it intake discovery. We will be talking about it while we will be discussing many different topics. Now, any question till here? Does it make sense whatever we discussed so far? Adnan.
Yes, Doctor. But is it a kind of memorization here or just understanding the things on
You
each section?
you really need not to remember all these 24 process goals. I mean, uh, they are not really part of, you can say, senior scrum master certification, and they will not be asking you to remember any of them. But to understand discipline agile, these processes are important. Same like in PMP, as you remember all the processes of knowledge areas or process groups, but not compulsory for exam to memorize them. Understanding them is very important. Okay. Now, here I am sharing choose your wow book. Uh, here you can see that on this particular slide, uh, the table of contents of choose your wow book is shown to you. However, it is starting from section 2. Therefore, what I am going to do, I am going to share the actual book so that we can discuss more about these sections. And for you, uh, uh, especially when you will be preparing for your senior Scrum Master certification, what are the chapters that you must be reading through? Remember, guys, the exam is not solely based on choose your wow book, same like PMP is not based on PMBOK, but PMBOK is a reference book. Similarly, choose your wow, uh, this is a Bible. You really need not to go through everything, but there are some chapters which are pretty important. Uh, to understand this, I'm going towards table of contents, and in fact, there are total 6 sections of this book. However, the first 4 sections are pretty important, and let me have a look on those first 4 sections. The section 1, Discipline Agile Delivery in Nutshell. There are 6 chapters. These 6 chapters are introductory chapters. Whatever we discussed yesterday, whatever we discussed so far, basically is everything from these 6 chapters. Talking about choosing your wow, being disciplined, that in nutshell, roles, rights, and responsibilities, process goals, choosing your right life cycle. All the explanation is given here. To understand discipline agile well, it is highly recommended you must go through these 6 chapters. Okay. And after that, the next 3 sections are based on inception phase, construction phase, transition phase, and the last section is ongoing. However, the naming conventions are different. For example, successfully initiating your team, that is basically your inception. Remember, guys, here the inception phase is pretty important when you are forming a new team. Okay, mean when you are talking about first 2 life cycles, agile and lean. However, in case of continuous delivery, agile and lean life cycle, normally this this phase, okay, this phase is very limited. This phase is not included because your team is already formed, your funding is already secured, you already have the common vision, you already developed your test strategy, everything is already done. Now you have become long-standing stable team who is doing only one work, adding more and more features, or you can say that adding more and more business increments and uh, resolving the bugs in the software or in any product, reducing the technical debt, and addressing the risks. Okay, so whatever which is given from chapter 7 till chapter 14, it is valid for the project-based agile or lean life cycles. And you can clearly see that the processes or the chapters which are given here, they are linked with the project start or project initiation. Can one of you read this for me, Mustafa? From here till here, the names, just the names.
Yes. Uh, form team, align with the enterprise direction, explore scope, identify architecture strategy, plan the release, develop test strategy, develop common vision, secure funding.
All those things are like before when you start developing your product or you start constructing your solution, isn't it? You have to form your team, you have to align your project objectives with the organizational objectives. You need to do a high level scope exploration, not in depth. Okay, because in agile we don't do anything in depth. We don't do planning in depth in the start. We don't do design uh, in detail. Maybe you heard about uh, big upfront planning, BUP. Maybe you heard about big upfront design, and they it talk about detailed planning or detailed design. That's what we really don't do. However, we do it on a very high level or abstract level. Similarly, it's important that we should identify the strategy we are adopting for our solution architecture, because in the end these are technical projects, technical products. Similarly, we think about how we will release our solution into the production, again on a high level, not in depth. We think about what testing techniques will be used, what testing strategies will be used. Testing mean quality assurance. Similarly, uh, our vision and our stakeholder vision should be same. Mean uh, stakeholder and we should be on the same page that what we are going to develop, and then most importantly secure the funding. uh, in traditional way we secure funding in using different techniques, but in agile uh, we secure funding using different ways. Okay, and what would be that way to secure funding? Everything is given in this process or in this chapter. After that, there are 5 more processes or chapters, that is producing business value, or in other words, developing our solution. And Muhammad, can you please help me to go through these names?
Yes, sure. Section 3,
Yeah.
prove architecture early, address change stakeholder needs, produce potentially consumable solution, and improve quality, accelerate value delivery.
That's the work that our team is doing in a self-organized, self-managed fashion. Firstly, what we do, we prove our architecture so that the solution we are going to develop should be a solution that should be viable. It shouldn't be a solution that at the end we think, oh no, it's not going to work like this. Okay, and we can only do it when we can prove our architecture early, maybe for 2 or 3 requirements or 2 or 3 features. And then while working, we should be working closely with our product owner and other stakeholders so that we can address their changing needs. And I believe you all are on the same page that uh, if stakeholder needs are changing, it is not a bad thing. In fact, the change in stakeholder needs show that our stakeholders understood the things more closely, and also they are going to get the competitive advantage. And then we should be adding more and more features into our solution, that is producing consumable solution, and then improving quality. Improving quality mean we must be ensuring that our quality is built in within the solution, and we use many different techniques for quality assurance and quality control. Different industry use their own techniques, but in software industry we use testing techniques. For example, TDT, that is test driven development, or TFT, test first development, or ATD, that is acceptance test driven development, or BDD, that is behavior driven development, etc. The purpose is same. Our quality should be built in the solution. It shouldn't be the case that we build the solution and then we are testing it and checking if solution is developed well or not. And then accelerate value delivery, that is basically talking about uh, uh, continuous and frequent delivery. How can we ensure that we can give early and often value or early and often product increments to our stakeholders for their competitive advantages so that they can use the solution as early as possible. And after that, section 4, that is talking about how can we put our solution into the production. 2 steps. Firstly, we should ensure that not only our solution is ready, but also the operations teams are ready, our production teams are ready to accept our solution. This is called ensure production readiness on both ends. This is DevOps. Development, operations, both should be ready. And that uh, transition should be in a seamless manner. And then deploy the solution, mean doing the actual solution deployment. And at the end, there comes 6 more chapters in Choose Your Wow. And Farhan, would you like to go through them?
Sure, I will. It's grow team members, coordinate activities, evolve way of working, wow, ad- address risk, leverage and enhance existing infrastructure, govern delivery team.
Here, I would like to make a comment that to prepare for Senior Scrum Master certification, no doubt you are going through all the content given in the learning portal, that is student manual and too many other things. But also, I recommended you read the first 6 chapters of this book. Not only this, I am recommending you 3 more chapters, at least you should go through them. And these chapters are chapter 22, chapter 23, and chapter 27. You may expect a lot of questions which are based on the concepts given in these chapters. How to grow your team members, mean team development. In fact, that's the topic of our first session today. Coordinate activities, in the team, between the teams, and within the organization, and govern delivery team. This is talking about METSs, measurements, team performance measurement, pragmatic planning, pragmatic monitoring, lean governance. All those bits are covered in govern delivery team. On top of that, there are 3 more uh, process goals. But this book was published before that. That's why PMI didn't add those chapters here, but they are already given in our DA browser. Now I'm shifting to DA browser. Uh, Before shifting to DA browser, just one thing to note down is you can see uh, our process goals start from section 2. And the first process goal is, Mustafa, and the first process goal is farming.
Yes, form team. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, form team.
yeah, it is farm team. Here it is, I mean, the first chapter or chapter 7, you can say. However, in DA browser, the sequence is other way around. Let's have a look. Uh, Farm team is at the end of our inception. Okay, I don't know why they did it, but it is like this. The second one is in fact second last, so on and so forth. Okay, in fact that's the case for construction, transition, and ongoing. Okay, uh, this is just to let you know so that you shouldn't be confused. Otherwise, there is nothing important in it. Now, guys, let's talk about DA browser itself, because like when we will be looking DA browser, it will be very helpful for us to understand our process outcomes or process goals, goal diagrams, decision points, and the agile practices that will help us to choose our way of working. That will help us to make an agile team or broadly a whole agile enterprise. Okay, now it's also very important to understand that for your organization because your context will be unique as per your organizational enterprise environmental factors, constraints, culture, so on and so forth. It's not compulsory that you will be using all the process goals. For example, you might have already a team with you. Then it means that you are not going to use this process goal. Maybe you have very good quality assurance practices. You might need not to think about testing strategies. It totally depends, but they are available in case you need them. Again, tailoring is very important. You can use any process goal which you think you require. No need to use all the process goals. Maybe the scope of your product is already well defined or you already know about it. You might not be using this. However, it is available for your per user. Now, next stage. And this stage is we already covered in yesterday's session at the end. However, few of participants were not available. That's why I am going to review it again, but with the help of you guys. Let's have a look on these process goals because these process goals combine together to result in the toolkit. Okay, firstly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take one simple example. For example, mm, explore scope. Okay, uh, and I will explain to you that how this process goal is explained with the help of this whole goal diagram. In explore scope, when you are exploring your scope, you have to think about many different things, or you have to make decision about many different things. For example, the purpose of your product, you have to explore that purpose. What will be the use of that product? What about the domain for which you are developing your product? Okay, is it e-commerce? Is it banking, etc.? Okay, then how can you explore it? What agile tools and strategies you can use? The process for the scope. Uh, if your product is a product with whom the users are directly interacting, then you might need to think about user experience or UX design. You have to think about the requirements, general requirements of that will be part of your product or project, uh, quality requirements, modeling strategies, work item management strategies, the level of detail of scope document. So, I mean, these are the things uh, you might be thinking when you are exploring the scope. Now, for each of these points, what Discipline Agile did is it provided you different agile strategies after doing a lot of study. Okay, uh, provided you different agile strategies and tools and techniques that you can adopt. And what they did is they said that, okay, not only we are giving you agile strategies, but also we are telling you what will be the good starting points. Now, let me explain you something. This is basically, you can see that here, if you compare this one and you compare this one, here you have this arrow, okay, and here you have no arrow, okay. Uh, what does it mean, Farhan? What is arrow? When there is an arrow, what does it mean? When there is no arrow, what does it mean?
When there are arrows, as you
Hmm?
explained yesterday, according to PMI, they recommend the one on the top to be to be where finally you should be, but they have highlighted the points that are the starting points where you can start from.
Hmm.
And the ones that don't have arrow is basically it's up to you and your organization. The best that suits you, you can use any of those process to start,
Mhm,
and then continue using them, or checking the other ones and
mhm.
reflecting which suits best for you. So there is no, basically without arrow, there is no thing to say this is the best or this is the worst.
Yes.
It is all equal. The ones with the arrows help you to understand where you should reach finally according to discipline agile.
True. As Farhan explained, if there is an arrow, it is showing that it is in a prioritized fashion. Mean the top one is considered as a best strategy, the second one is second best, and third one is third best, so on and so forth. But if there is no arrow, there is no recommendation from PMI that okay, this one is best or this one is best. It totally depends on you. Whatever you want to use, you can use them. Okay, there is no priority of the strategies or tools and techniques. Uh, did you get my point, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there are few even within arrows or without arrows. There are few which are bold and there are few which are not bold. Mustafa, what do you think? What does it mean? What is this bold thing? And what about which are not bold?
Yes, as explained to you by yourself yesterday, and it's just specified just now, that the bold item is highly recommended to adapt, but it is not mandatory per se to have them. You can prioritize according to your need, but this is where you actually have to reach the bold items.
Little bit different, Mustafa. Let me explain again. When there is an arrow, the top item is where you should be reaching when you are becoming very agile in the arrows. Okay, but bold items are something different. What bold items are saying, for example, if I take this example, okay, what is this? It is talking about explore user experience. Mean, uh, it is talking about the scope of a product with whom your users will be interacting. For example, a web portal, a website, or any application, any banking application with whom clients are directly interacting, or there is an interface for the client. Okay, now uh, when you have this type of application, then you have to think about user experience or UX design. uh, Here you can clearly see that PMI says that we really don't say that design sprint is the best strategy or UI flow diagram is the best strategy. We don't say that UI prototype is with high fidelity is the best one or with the low fidelity is the best one. We even don't say UI specification is the worst strategy. Okay, you can choose any strategy you want, but whatever is given in bold, these are good starting points. Okay, uh, good starting points mean that you can start with them. Okay, according to our recommendation. However, if you are going for design sprint, for example, there is no problem in it. We are not saying that UI flow diagram is better than design sprint. But we are saying that if you start from UI flow diagram, it will be a good starting point. Similarly, if you look here in this arrow shape, uh, here what mm, no, no. Let's talk about this one. Let's talk about this one because this is not a good example. This one is a good example. Here, you can clearly see that the top priority is, mean the best technique is work item pool. However, they didn't make it bold. Okay. But what they are saying that work item pool is the best way to put your requirements in or to put your user stories in. But what happen is normally when you start adopting agile, your organization might not be very much agile. They may be just starting, and for them, going for work item pool may be tough. So for them, a good starting point is do the Scrum method of product backlog or work item list. However, work item pool is something you should be aiming for. Good starting point is backlog, but you should be aiming for work item pool. Work item pool is work item management strategy by Kanban, by Lean. Okay. However, backlog or work item list is the strategy by the Agile or Scrum. Okay. So this is a good starting point. However, your aim should be towards work item pool that is a lean strategy and is one of the best strategy. Did I make some sense?
I got your point, Doctor, but as you specified in Explore User Experience,
Yeah.
the highlighted points are the only recommended points, or we can follow all the points, or we can skip out some of the points while doing this particular exercise at this time.
So what PMI is saying that good starting points are UI prototype low fidelity or UI flow diagram. These are good starting points. You can start with them, but if your team decides that instead of low fidelity prototype, we should be going for high fidelity. Instead of developing it on the paperwork, okay, instead of developing your prototype on the paper, we are going to implement it on the computer or with the help of a programming language. Okay, you can go for it. Okay, they don't stop you, but they say that these are good starting points, but you can use any of them you want.
And so I can also skip these good starting points as well if I want
Yeah,
to.
you can.
But these are highly recommended ones.
These are good starting points, and the yeah, you can say recommended one, not highly recommended one, the recommended one. What is highly recommended are the point where we really want to reach. They are given with the help of arrows. Okay. For example, it is shown that, okay, quality requirements, the best way of quality requirement is acceptance criteria and explicit list. And here, because they are also shown in bold, they are also good starting points.
So whatever mentioned in bold, regardless of these arrows or without these arrows, are good starting points.
Yes, they are good starting points. And if you are new to Agile or your team say that, okay, we believe in discipline Agile recommendation, let's start with these good starting points.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so this is the whole toolkit. But again, remember guys, these 21 or 24 process goals, whatever is shown in this DA browser, they are only for the solution development. They are not for the DevOps. They are not for the value streams or agile enterprise level. Okay. For them, there are separate goal diagrams available. But important thing is uh, they might not be part of senior scrum master certification. It means you really need not to go through all of them. You only need to go through them which are part of senior scrum master certification to pass the certification. But for learning viewpoint, you can read whatever you like. Okay, now I hope you got some good idea about it.
First, just to make a point clear, so there is another, like a browser for the other things also,
Mhm.
for value stream and all, or something that we should look at?
Yeah, they are not available in this particular browser, but they are available online.
Okay.
You
So we
just
can
need,
search it and
yes,
find it. Okay.
yes. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm skipping few slides because we already discussed about them. Okay, let's move further. What I'm going to do, I am going to discuss DA landscape for enterprise level agility. Then you will have much clear idea than what we have understood so far. Okay. Uh, okay. And other good thing is, let me go back to DA browser again. Sorry. Yeah. So that you should have a very good introduction with the DA browser, especially the students who were not present yesterday. That will be somewhere here. No, not here. Yeah. Uh, where would be the, maybe on the screen? Okay. Sorry guys, I just need to go back a bit. Did I close it? I hope I didn't close it. It looks like I closed it. No, I didn't close it. Okay, guys. What is a good thing about this interactive DA browser, especially for students who didn't attend yesterday's session? If you click on any of the process goal, like I clicked on explore scope here, what they did is they provide you an abstract level explanation of this process goal. Okay, mean you can read about this process goal explore scope here. Some basic definition, why we need it and what it includes. Similarly, they are also adding additional resources if you want to do further and in-depth studies. While exploring scope, you need to think about the requirements. Uh, you need to think about requirements modeling and many other ways that are very much popular and very much useful while exploring the scope in the additional resources. Okay, and then if you click on any of the decision point guys, for example, you click on the explore scope, what they did is and they told you that for each of the agile practice which is given here, for example, ideathon or ideation board or impact board or outcome or really round robin, etc. What they did is they told you what does it mean ideathon, what does it mean ideation board. Okay, so that you should have everything available while making the decision. Not only they defined these concepts, but they also provided you the trade-offs. Trade-offs mean what are the advantages and disadvantages of each of the agile practice and in which setting this agile practice will be helpful. Okay, so that's something that is very, very useful. Now, let's go back and go to our slides. Okay, this is a screenshot of the Choose Your Wow book. It is showing the same thing that Choose Your Wow book contain all the details for all the processes, decision points, and agile practices, including the definition and the trade-offs. Now let's move further and look on DA landscape. This is very, very important for you to look at the holistic picture by discipline agile. Uh, there are total 4 layers that discipline agile support. The first layer is foundation layer. We have already covered a lot of it. We talked about agile principles, discipline agile principles, promises, guidelines, life cycles, roles, teams, and how to choose our way of working, isn't it? Based on these foundational concepts, then we can go to our next layer, that is disciplined DevOps. So let me switch on the marker, sorry, so that I can discuss better. Pen. Okay. Now, this is second layer, disciplined DevOps. That is basically the collaboration between development teams and the operation teams. And who are the development teams? Discipline Agile call them Discipline Agile Delivery Teams, or DAD teams. Okay. Uh, Whatever we studied so far, all the 24 process goals, they are basically behind this process area called DAT. Discipline Agile call it process blade. Instead of process area, they call it process blade. Why they call it process blade? Uh, if anybody heard about blade servers, and the guys
Yes.
who are, yes, yeah, Farhan, that what I was expecting, because your background is in IT. What are blade servers?
So basically, you know, slim servers put in a chassis. So in
Mhm.
one chassis, you can have about 10 to 12 servers sliding in. And the
Yeah,
advantage is that you can pull one blade out or a server out when you
exactly.
want and replace it very easily.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the purpose of calling these things as process blades that can be easily plugged in, plugged out, can be replaced, so on and so forth. Mean to make it very, very dynamic. To make this landscape dynamic, they give it the name process blades. But in the end, they are process areas. For example, delivery process area, security process area, data management, so on and so forth. Each of the process area or blade is supported with the help of 1 to n number of process goals. And we have already seen that there are 24 process goals behind this particular process blade. Uh, and when we are talking about DevOps, we are talking about that the teams who are working in this process blade, mean our solution development teams, how they seamlessly cross bond and collaborate with the rest of the IT, including IT operations, support, release management, especially in a case when like there are hundred of teams or dozens of teams, and teams are working under a portfolio or a program, and then data management group and security group. How can they do DevOps and can collaborate with other teams? So here we are shifting our direction from solution development towards DevOps, including IT operations, their IT infrastructure, so on and so forth. And then the next level is value stream level, where our focus is on the value streams. And value stream not only include discipline agile delivery and IT operations, but also many other areas, especially portfolio management, who provide us funding, who provide us directions, who provide us the list of the initiatives to achieve the strategic objectives of the organization. And then product management that talk about the product, its roadmaps, its guidance, maybe scope, so on and so forth. And then program management that talk about how to manage multiple teams within a program, how to manage the release for sub teams, so on, so forth. This is value stream. And then this value stream also include some more uh, process blades which are common between value stream and discipline agile enterprise. That's why you can clearly see that their color is different, and also they are in the middle of our value stream layer and next layer, that is DA enterprise level. It includes R&D, business operations, strategy, governance, marketing, continuous improvement, and sales. The purpose of value stream layer is give a seamless experience to your customer. Simple. It may include your solution, it may include IT operation, it may include your sales, your marketing, anything. But in the end, we must be optimizing our value stream in such a way that customer, when he comes or she comes, he normally go through all different teams or all different departments. Uh, we should be developing our system in such a way and our workflow in such a way that user or customer should be getting a seamless experience. There shouldn't be any hurdle while uh, a customer send a request and get the answer of that request from your organizational workflow. And then there comes the last layer, and it is about enterprise level. It includes the things, for example, architecture for the whole enterprise, HR, IT at the enterprise level, including IT procurement and many other bits, asset management, uh, transformation efforts, finance, vendor management, legal, everything involved that could be part of any enterprise. Now, each of these process blades are, as I mentioned earlier, are supported with the help of goal diagrams. For example, security, it has its own goal diagram, it has its own decision points and the agile practices. Data management, same. Release management, same. In fact, when we will be studying about senior Scrum Master, we will be touching base with DevOps, we will be touching base with the value streams, and we might be looking on some of the process goals from these process blades. Okay, any question? Okay, guys. Now also, sorry, Muhammad, you can always ask me because like sometimes I cannot see the chat. So I think it's time for a quick break because like you must be going for the prayer. After 10 minutes of break, we will be talking again. Is it fine, guys?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, start our discussion. Can you guys see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so these are introductory slides. I will not be spending a lot of time on them because we have already covered a lot of them. We will be skipping those slides we already covered. As I mentioned earlier, there are total 6 modules that you need to cover as a part of Senior Scrum Master certification. The first one is, can someone help me to read the first one, lesson 1?
That is development for high performance teams.
2?
Tactical scaling in complex situations.
3rd?
Third is optimizing how we work with disciplined DevOps layer.
4th one is?
Fourth one is how we work with the value streams. Fifth one is pragmatic planning for agile teams. Sixth one is pragmatic reporting and matrices for agile teams.
And as I mentioned that there were 3 more, but now they are part of our preliminary work, or you can say that our own read or self-read. There are few things, we call it housekeeping. It talks about we take frequent breaks, we start on time, so on and so forth. It also asks us that it would be good if we can have our camera on as much as possible. It also asks you to go for the knowledge check, but knowledge check is not working. We will be doing it later. This slide talks about choose your bow, that is Bible for Discipline Agile. It talks about its different sections. We already covered them. We already introduced ourselves, so I'm skipping this slide too. We talked about DA roles and the senior scrum master role, and we all agreed that the team lead is the role that is same like senior scrum master or chief scrum master or simple scrum master uh, role. This role interact with rest of the roles as we already discussed in detail. Uh, Definition of senior scrum master. I'm going to tell you quickly. Uh, if you talk about just scrum master, uh, not senior scrum master is the one who normally works with one team and help them to choose their way of working. However, when we talk about senior scrum master, he is the one who not only lead and guide the team, but he is the one who also able to work in complex working environment. When I say complex working environment, mean that where our product could be technically complex, or the domain for which we are working is complex, or our team size is different, or our team is geographically distributed, etc. And he is the one who will be helping team in planning, identifying the right measurement methods, reporting, and team development. Also, he or she should be able to not only work with the team but also with the upper management like program and portfolio managers. Not only with program and portfolio managers but other departments in the organization, so that he can find allies, mean the supporters for his team. So this is very important. Team needs to work in the business environment, in the organization. It would be good if other departments they can understand how an agile team works and how can they work with an agile team. It could be from other departments or it could be some other agile teams uh, working in on the same product or different products. In the senior scrum master, when working with the team, help them and coach them so that they can choose their way of working in a self-managed way, and should be able to form a team that should be a cross-functional team. What do you think, guys? What does it mean, cross-functional team?
A team that can be actually able to perform or deliver the project,
Yeah.
irrespective of what they have.
True. So cross-functional teams are the combination of the team members from all different areas. For example, developers, testers, business analysts, even marketers, or HR or legal. But in the end, a team that is a whole team and should be capable to deliver the project or a product or a specific functionality within a product. A cross-functional team that can complete the whole product from start till end, and they really don't need help from outside as much as possible. Also, senior scrum master should be helping team to work in such a way that they can get high value increments, so that our clients should be getting the value they are aiming for, the value for which they paid, and those high value increments should be meeting our definition of done. Definition of done mean that a work that is completed, tested, verified, and validated by the customers. Also helping the team to remove the impediments. Mean if there is any issue, any disturbance, any interference from outside, senior scrum master should be helping them to remove all those impediments, should be working as a shield for their team. And also, while doing the agile work or agile way of working, that could be agile or lean, they should be doing necessary events, for example, daily coordination meeting or retrospective, etc. But uh, this thing should be chosen by the team. And also, senior Scrum Master should ensure that whatever events are being done by the team, they should be positive, they should be productive, and they should not go beyond the time limits. For example, we shouldn't be spending like hours and hours in our daily Scrum or daily stand up. Similarly, when senior Scrum Master work with the product owner, it he or she helps the product owner in defining uh, the project scope or product scope, that we basically call it backlog definition. Okay, mean the requirements of the product. These requirements could be functional, could be non-functional, could be from the stakeholders, from the business, could be quality of service requirements, could be quality requirements. But senior Scrum Master should be helping product owner to develop, define, and refine the product backlog. Also, not only helping the product owner in defining the backlog, but helping the team to understand those backlog items so that team can take those backlog items, those features, user stories, and can define the tasks and their acceptance criteria. Also, should be helping the product owner and the team member in empirical product planning. Anybody knows about what is empirical product planning? Or
Doing like an experiments.
yeah, fantastic. It's all about experiments. Do it and then see that if it works, it's fantastic. It doesn't work, then it's good to be fail fast and do try it in a different way. And also helping the product owner and the team in the stakeholder collaboration. Senior Scrum Master role is not only at the team level, but also with the organization level in adopting the agile and also helping them in agile implementation. Agile adoption is just one thing, but implementation is also very important. This could be helping other teams, could be helping other departments, or convincing the executives in the adoption and the implementation of agile across the organization. And he or she can do it when he will be helping them to understand what is agile and how it is helpful for the generation of the business value, especially during the especially in the complex environment. And if there are any issues, should be resolving those issues in the agile adoption and implementation. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to have a quick look on a video that will be giving you a good understanding of discipline agile, though you already have a very good understanding, but these videos are very crisp to the point and will be helping you to understand more clearly. So I'm running this video.
There's no volume, huh? First, there's no volume.
Sorry,
There's no volume. We can't hear anything.
you cannot hear anything.
At least I can't.
Is it the case with everyone, guys?
Yes, we can't
Yes.
hear anything.
Hear you.
Okay, so okay, let me try again, guys. I'm sorry. Can you hear?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, I think it must be the settings that I need to sort out. Let me pause the recording and so our recording was stopped, but I decided not to resume in the middle. I hope like you got some good idea about discipline agile from this video. Any questions about it?
No, not from my side.
Let's move further. Uh, Discipline agile mindset, we already went through it, so best thing is to skip them. Here, if you see on the left side, you can see the picture of an owl. When a slide or handouts have this picture, it is saying that you can read more about this slide in Choose Your Wow. Okay, so this is chapter 2 that will be helping you to understand principal promises and guidelines, and you can go and read them. Some certifications from PMI, so I'm skipping them. Uh, Whenever you will find out this owl uh, picture on a slide, mean that there is more information available for a particular slide. And then there comes another video, and this video talk about the scope of discipline agile. Let's uh, let's go through it, and it will give you a very good but a different perspective of discipline agile. Let's watch this video now.
The best, most complete toolbox in the world won't be much use if you can't find the right tool for the job at hand. That's why most professional mechanics use those big rolling metal tool chests with multiple drawers and half a ton of capacity. They enable mechanics to find just the tool they need when they need it, without having to waste time. Disciplined Agile works the same way. Its process blades have been organized into 4 layers. The foundation layer provides the conceptual underpinnings of the Disciplined Agile toolkit. This includes the principles, promises, and guidelines of the Disciplined Agile mindset, fundamental concepts from both Agile and Lean, fundamental concepts from serial, traditional approaches, roles and team structures, and the fundamentals of choosing your way of working. The next layer up is the Disciplined DevOps layer, where DevOps is the streamlining of solution development and operations. Disciplined DevOps is an enterprise-class approach to DevOps. It includes disciplined agile delivery, security, data management, release management, support, and IT operations. As we move up, the next layer is the value stream layer. The value stream layer works to achieve business agility, the quick realization of business value predictably, sustainably, and with high quality. 3 are unique to the value stream layer: portfolio management, product management, and program management. It shares research and development, business operations, strategy, governance, marketing, continuous improvement, and sales with the next layer up, which is the Disciplined Agile Enterprise layer. The Disciplined Agile Enterprise layer focuses on the rest of the enterprise activities that support an organization's value streams. It includes enterprise architecture, people management, information technology, asset management, transformation, finance, vendor management, and legal. So, there you go. A disciplined agile toolbox, complete with drawers, or in this case, layers, to keep things organized. So you can find exactly what you need to address the challenges you face, when you need it, without having to waste time.
Okay, so I hope you got a good idea about DA landscape too. Now let's move further. Before going in depth of our Senior Scrum Master certification, let's have a look on one of the scenario that will be used throughout our discussion. And I would request Adnan to read this scenario for me. So basically, what is this scenario? Here we are going to take one example of a product, and by using this example, we will be trying to apply discipline agile toolkit on it. Yes, Adnan.
Over the next 2 days, we are going to work with team how heuristic algorithmic lawn mower who are developing a revolutionary lawnmower. The team is globally distributed and is dealing with a variety of complex issues. We will be using the Discipline Agile toolkit to help team meet the challenges they encounter.
So a team that is a global team where the team members are not only co-located but also virtual. They are geographically distributed. Some of the team members are contractors. They are working on a very advanced lawnmower that is based on artificial intelligence, and they will be facing a lot of complex challenges, and we will be using DA toolkit to resolve those challenges. So this is a scenario we should be keeping in mind while we will be discussing the rest of our senior Scrum Master content. And that was the introduction of our senior Scrum Master certification. Now, please allow me to share another set of slides that will be talking about our first lesson. And this lesson is on team development. Now, let me have a look if this lesson is open or not. Yeah, this lesson is opened. And lesson 2, show all windows. Where is, yeah, here it is. So now let's start our discussion with lesson 1 and see that how can senior Scrum Master help a team to become a high performance team. And I believe that most of you guys are aware of Bruce Tuckman model of team development, isn't it? Anyone who is not aware of,
Yes.
yeah. So it means that there will be many concepts you are already aware of. That's why we will be quickly going through lesson 1, but we will be discussing the important content, especially from exam point of view. So as you aware of that, when a new team is formed, this team could be from the same department, could be coming from the different departments within an organization, or even if it is a joint venture, in that case, team might be coming uh, from different organizations. If any one of you has worked on a project or product where teams were from different organizations, how your teams are formed?
Doctor, what do you mean by from different organization?
See, sometimes there are some joint ventures. For example, let me give you example from New Zealand. What government of New Zealand is did. I mean, New Zealand itself is pretty big in terms of its area, but population is very low. Okay, here there are many areas where there might not be mobile connections or internet connections, and there are few major cities where there is everything. So what government of New Zealand did is they said that we must be providing internet facility, telecommunication facility everywhere in New Zealand. Either there is only one person, only one home, or mm, even it's a population of 1.8 million. So what they did is they talked with all different telecommunication providers, for example, Vodafone, 2 Degrees, Spark, etc. And then they form a, uh, a company called UCG. UCG is, no, not UCG, RCG, Rural Connectivity Group. And uh, and the purpose of this company is implementing 4G and 5G in all the rural areas, and 50% of the money and the resources will be coming from the government. Rest of the 50% are coming from all these telecommunication providers. So all the teams who are working on these projects are coming from either RCG group, that is government, but also from other telecommunication companies like Vodafone, Spark, 2 Degrees. So mean the projects, the teams are working, the team members are from different organizations with totally different culture and different structure. So that's the meaning of it. Okay, so let's let me explain you these 4 or 5 stages of Tuckman model. Basically, what happens is like what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw this concept on a graph on the vertical axis. What I'm going to do is I'm putting team performance. Okay, and on the horizontal axis I am putting stages of team development. Okay, so what happens initially when team is formed, uh, we just form our team, and after that what happens when team sits down together, maybe after 1 week or 2 weeks, they start basically storming with each other. They start debating with each other, start quarreling with each other, maybe for because of many different reasons. At this point of time, the performance of the team during the storming stage goes down. Okay, uh, and soon what happens like after 2 weeks or 3 weeks with the efforts of team management or team itself or by developing the working agreements or team charter, team start realizing the roles, responsibilities, the authorities and the working styles of each other and shifting towards the norming stage, and team performance start improving. Okay, so on norming stage our team performance keep on start improving until it reaches to high performing stage where team performance become the best. And on this stage team start delivering the project in a very good way, in a high performance way, and keep on delivering the project or product features throughout. And after that what happens is team adjourn. That is last stage of uh, Bruce Tuckman model. So we can show the same concept with the help of this graph. As a senior Scrum Master, uh, you are a leader, isn't it? You are involved in the team development. On different stages, you show different leadership styles, different leadership features. And for example, when team is at the time of farming, okay, when team is just formed, only 1 week is passed. At that time, as a leader or senior scrum master, you should be focusing quite a lot on the directing. Okay, because team is new, they don't know anything. You have to direct the work quite a lot during this stage. However, uh, when teams start knowing each other and they start debating, quarreling with each other, in that point, as a leader, when team is during the storming stage, you should be providing a lot of support. You should be providing a lot of coaching to your team so that your team can come out of storming stage towards norming stage. So you become more coach. Okay, uh, while you are working as a coach, basically you are doing two things. One is you are providing a lot of direction, mean this component, highly directive and highly supportive, so that your team can come out of storming stage. When your team goes into the norming stage, at this point in time, as a senior scrum master or a leader, you should be working as a supportive leader. Mean you must not be interfering a lot into your team uh, and helping your team to make the decisions by the team itself. Okay, at this point in time you will be providing high support but low directions. This is called supporting leadership. And once your team will become high performance team or highly performing team, at that stage you will be basically delegating the work to the team. Mean you are not telling the team, not micromanaging the team. In fact, you will delegate all the work to your team, or in other words, you are providing low directions and low support, and team has become a high performing, self-organized team. And here team performance would be the best. And once the project is completed, then team adjourns. This is in case of project, but in case of products, your team still remain high performance team. That's why DA are agile ways of working. They promote long-standing, stable teams so that you should not be wasting all that time of forming the team, team going through storming and then norming and then become highly performing. Now, long-standing stable teams, because they are already settled, already passed through all other stages, they have become like very much highly performing teams. Any question? Did I make some sense?
Yes,
Yes,
of course.
Okay, now let's talk about what we call our team on different stages. When team is uh, at the farming stage, normally we call it working group, a group that is gathered together for work. It is still not a team, but just a working group. And when team reaches to storming stage, we call them not a real team, but we call them pseudo team. That is not a real team. However, once your team comes out of storming stage and start normalizing, then in that stage we call our team as a potential team, a team who got the potential to become high performing team. So on different stages, we can call our teams with the different naming conventions. That is working group, excuse me, pseudo team, potential team, and high performing team. And at the time of adjourning, it will be a happy team, a team who love to work with each other. Now, let's move further. Uh, in the upcoming slides, in most of the slides, whatever I discussed, it will be discussed, but there will be few more concepts that I will be highlighting. So I will be skipping a lot of slides because we have covered most of them. It is just showing that, okay, team is formed here, team is storming here. Now they got norming and then they become performing team, and at the end they adjourn. And this concept is shown with the help of a video. Let me run this video and it will further clear your concepts about Tuchman model.
Back in 1965, a psychologist named Bruce Tuchman observed that teams go through 5 stages: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Tuchman didn't just have a knack for rhyming, although that does make his model easier to remember. Understanding and supporting the team through each phase can be vital to helping it become a high-functioning team. Initially, the team is introduced. Everyone is polite, pleasant, even eager. This is the forming stage, when most team members are excited to start something new and get to know the others. Then, of course, reality sets in. During the storming phase, the weight of the task at hand sinks in. The initial excitement and the need to be polite wear off. Soon enough, people start to notice and appreciate each other's strengths. This is the norming stage, when the group starts to settle into a groove. Everyone is contributing and working as a cohesive unit. Eventually, the new team's members are confident and familiar enough with the project and their team that they can operate without supervision. This is the performing stage, when everyone on the team is on the same page and driving full speed ahead toward the final goal. In 1977, Tuchman added a fifth state, adjourning. Sadly, not a perfect rhyme. This phase is sometimes known as mourning, because the team members have grown close and feel a loss now that the experience is over. The point of having a team is to work together. Understanding how teams develop and supporting that development is key to helping your team mature into the high-performing team it should be.
Cool. So let's move further and talk more about team development stages. Either team is in the farming or storming or norming or highly performing team. What they are doing three things. One is they are thinking or doing, thinking about the work, mean content, what work they are doing, and also about the process, how they are doing this work. And last is how they are collaborating with each other while completing the work of a project or a product, mean the relationship between the team members. Now let's have a look that for each of the stage, how people behave about all those three things: content, process, and feeling about each other. I'm skipping this particular slide, but this slide is just telling that discipline agile mindset promotes the team development. Now, in the farming stage, normally what happens that teams are mostly uncertain, team members are mostly uncertain about their roles, and basically they are within themselves, they are acquainted, mean they are not very open with other team members because they are very new, and they try to establish some rules, some ground rules. And at that point, senior Scrum Master create an environment of acceptance by directing the tasks. Now, at this point in time, now let's have a look at how different team members look at the work, how to do it, and how they think about each other. Mustafa, can you please read that at the time of farming, what how people look at the work?
Some attempt to define the job to be done.
So, I mean, they really don't work as a team, but on the individual level, they try to define the work to be done. I mean, they think about the project or product, but at an individual level, working alone and thinking about how can we do, what is the work we are going to do. Similarly, they also think about how to do it. This thinking could be individual, or sometimes, for example, if you switch your job, okay, and you are going to join another company, sometimes what you do is you talk with your previous colleagues and discuss with them to how to do this work, or asking your mentor or asking your senior, instead of working as a team, to talk about how to do work, you try to get help from your old colleagues. And then feelings. At the time of farming, Muhammad, what do you think? How people think about each other? Muhammad, you here? Adnan?
People can feel anxious and unsure of their roles, most look to a leader for guidance.
So, what happens is like in the start, you are just looking from your project manager or scrum master or agile coach, what is my roles and responsibilities, what is the roles and responsibilities of others, how can we interact each other, so on, so forth. And people are very like conservative, they are within themselves, they really don't talk openly about the roles and responsibilities and how to do work. Okay, so that's at the time of farming stage. And then at the time of storming stage, what happens when 1 or 2 weeks are passed? Uh, there are always some disagreements and struggle for the roles, responsibilities, leadership. There could be some tensions among the team members because you are new. You are not well aware of each other and still you are learning. At that time, there are chances that there will be a lot of arguments within the uh, team members. As a senior Scrum Master, it's your responsibility that this stage should pass as early as possible. And you can do it by coaching your team and resolving the conflicts among the team members. And here I would like to comment on conflicts. Guys, what do you think? What are conflicts? What are different ways of resolving the conflicts?
See, Doctor, there could be many type of conflicts. Primarily, if I talk about my field, we work in a same organization. We do not we have the teams are also being formed, but there is a conflict of interest. For example, a person is reporting to two guys, and his direct functional manager is asking him to do something,
True,
and his project is demanding something.
true.
Okay, and normally what we do, and I believe what the standards are also say, that we talk about it, and we sit together and try to resolve those conflicts.
Fantastic. So one of the best technique is problem resolution. Uh, we should be focusing on the problem itself to resolve it instead of like doing something else. Uh, there are many other ways to resolve the conflicts, but that are not the best ways. The best way is to resolve the problem as you suggested. Okay. And also, I would like to comment that most of the conflicts are, especially in the organization, are not personal conflicts. Most of the conflicts are maybe because of resource availability, as you just mentioned. It could be because of the schedule. It could be because of any other reason, but personal conflicts are very few. Later, these conflicts may result in type of personal grudge with each other, but mostly it links with the system, with the resources, with the priorities, with the schedule, so on and so forth. To resolve these conflicts, no doubt problem resolving is best. That's the first thing we should be doing, problem resolving. But sometimes people also try to resolve these conflict by accommodating, okay, giving something to one person and something to another person. Similarly, uh, uh, you could be like just withdraw. Okay, I'm not going to ask for it. I'm just withdrawing. Other person can take this resource. This is again not a good technique. Uh, the best technique is only resolving the problem. Accommodation, withdrawing, or postponing the conflict. All these are not helpful and they always come back. Also, on this point, I would like to comment on different levels of conflicts. Anybody knows about different levels of conflicts? In fact, there are 5 levels of conflicts. The first one is normally a problem that needs to be resolved. Okay. Uh, on this stage, it's good if team can work together and can resolve the problem, and senior scrum master or project manager shouldn't be interfering, especially for self-organizing teams. But sometimes what happens if problem is not resolved, it might reach to the disagreements where people have like serious disagreement with each other. But still, this disagreement is about resolving the problem. And then there sometimes next stage comes, and this stage is called contest, where people start contesting with each other, start taking this thing as a personal. Okay, that okay, I'm going to take this resource, no other option at all. This is personal level conflict. At this point, the agile coach or senior scrum master should be interfering and should be resolving problem, and it would be good if they can resolve personal level of contest in a private manner with those team members who are causing this contest. It might go to next level, and we call it crusade. And I believe that most of you know about crusade. Crusade were the wars between the Muslims and the Christians, where there were like whole group of Christians and on the other side whole group of Muslims. So same thing may happen into your teams where there are some groups, and groups start fighting with each other instead of just individual persons. There is like a group formation. This is very critical stage. At this stage, maybe senior management, uh, they have to be involved. Maybe you have to involve a third party that can resolve the problem, and maybe you just uh, compromise and ask the groups finish this project, and after that you are not working as a team, so on so forth. And then the last stage is world war. World war is the situation where everyone is fighting with everyone else. And at this point in time, uh, you as a senior scrum master or the senior management should be involved fully and should ensure that no one is harming anyone else. And there is no solution of world war. You must have to adjourn your team. So these are 5 stages of conflicts. Uh, this is not part of this lesson, but it was part of our previous lessons that are now not part of Senior Scrum Master certification, but available as a part of preliminary reading. But I thought I should be covering it here. Now, let's talk further about the storming stage. On storming stage, the team members look at the content, mean the work that needs to be done, and the process and the feelings bit differently. And Adnan, can you please read for me that how they look at the work?
Yes, team members become resistant to task demands.
So, I mean, they say, no, I'm not going to do this work. Someone else should be doing this work, so on and so forth. And process,
Team members deny to task and look for reasons not to do it.
yeah, for example, like I was not part of meeting, I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do it. Or maybe half of the work is done by someone else, he should be completing this work, I shouldn't be the one who should be completing this work, so on and so forth. But in agile team, it's not the case. It is not your work or my work, it is basically team's work. And then feelings,
People still feel uncertain and try to express their individuality concerns arise about the team hierarchy.
they may be asking question why this guy is considered as a group leader or a team leader or a leader of the test team or developers team, so on and so forth. Guys, what do you think when you joined some teams? Did you ever go through these stages?
uh, Doctor, even worse at times, because the teams are being formed and we are already working on different projects with those similar faces and guys. So what
Yeah,
really happens that those conflicts actually also comes into the new projects, so it gets really complicated. And We need definitely most of the times we need an intermediator who can actually resolve these conflicts. And as you said, that these conflicts are initially not in personal of nature, but yes, it gets to personal
Yeah, true.
intent
Can go
contact.
to true.
But yes, sometimes we try to resolve it by ourselves within the teams, but sometimes it goes to the higher management, and higher management has to take action accordingly.
True, agreed. So, as you said that if a team is, for example, on a high performing stage, it can quickly go back to storming stage, especially when, for example, new team members are added. There are strong chances that it may happen, or especially you might never reach to high performing team. Throughout your work, you remain into storming stage and just keep on doing your work, your job, and that's all. In fact, you never came out of your storming stage to norming stage or high performing stage. Uh, in that case, the role of the managers, the leaders, the coaches, the scrum masters are pretty important. They should be the one who should be coaching you, should be helping you, should be directing you, should be supporting you. And one of the good technique of coming out of storming stage towards norming stage is developing the working agreements. Working agreements among the team members are very, very important. Sometimes we also call them team charter, and this working agreement can cover everything. It can cover roles and responsibilities, how to conduct the meetings, how to communicate, what about conflict resolution strategies, when we will be escalating our problem to the senior management. All those bits could be in the working agreements, and team should be the one who should be developing the working agreements or team charter, because it is for them. Once team will develop it, team will own it. Team will have a buy-in into it. It will help the team to go from storming to norming and ultimately highly performing stage. Norming stage at this point in time, maybe after a month or so, if coach is working closely with the team and team is positive to come out of storming stage, they start building the consensus, they start accepting each other's roles and responsibilities. If someone is uh, like an emergent leader, other people start accepting it, and the trust established between the team members. Trust is very, very important. This is first stage. If there is no trust established, then none of the work is going to happen. There will be always issue. And obviously teams start cooperating. But still, at the moment, they are in the norming stage, just came out of storming stage. At this point in time, senior scrum master should be providing a lot of support to the team so that team can do some decision making, team can resolve the conflicts, team can develop the work charter, working agreement, team should be resolving the problems, so on, so forth. As I mentioned, working agreements are very important. These working agreements could be internal working agreements within the team, how team work and collaborate with each other, and could be external working agreement, how they are communicating and collaborating with the other teams and with other stakeholders. Uh, Chapter 1 and 24 of Choose Your Vow uh, is a good read on this bit, how to develop working agreements. During norming stage, team members look on content, process, and feeling differently. Farhan, can you please help me to read?
Okay. The content is there can be discussions around the team's challenges.
Yeah,
Should I read all?
yeah,
Wait.
yeah.
Okay. The process is the team sets up the procedures to deal with the task. The feelings are the team members ignore individual differences and become more accepting.
So now focus has shifted from defining the work individually or resistive to the work. The focus has changed towards like what are the challenges, how to resolve it as a team, and people start developing the processes that I mentioned earlier, uh, to how to do the tasks, and how to basically ignore the differences on the individual level, and focus should be towards the work, towards the collaboration, to work together for the sake of project or product success. And then after that, we reach to the performing stage where like teams are fantastic and their performance is very good. They are very open to the challenges, to the differences. It really doesn't mean that there will be no difference. Still, there will be differences, but they are very open to talk about them, to resolve the conflicts. They are helpful to each other. If they believe in team success instead of individual success, they believe in team performance than individual performance. And at this point in time, basically team lead is not doing anything but delegating the work, but keeping an eye on the team members so that team shouldn't go back from performing towards storming stage again. And also the team lead or the project manager uh, should be finding activities that should be helping the team to remain motivated. It's very important because like after some time team start losing the motivation because they feel, we are doing the same donkey work again and again. So he or she should be finding the ways that should keep the team motivated by giving them the challenging work, by giving them the different roles, different responsibilities that can help the team to learn new knowledge, new skills that should keep the team motivated. However, where it is good to give new challenge to the team members so that they should remain motivated, but we should understand that that new challenge shouldn't be that much hard that team motivation go to zero or team members motivation go to zero. Because like this graph is showing that if you give the new challenge to the team member, and, team members, their motivation increase. But if the challenge is too tough, then there comes a point the whole motivation goes to zero. I really cannot do it. This task is too much. I would love to leave job than doing this task. Things like that instead of remain motivated. At this point in time, they look on the content, the work, the process, and the feelings differently. And I would request Muhammad to go through them.
Yes, content people are allocated efficient and process are in the place to ensure objectives are accomplished. The process the team can solve problems. Feelings members share a common focus, communicated well and become more efficient.
So, I mean, more and more positivity is there while doing the work, and how to do the work and how they interact with each other. So this is high performing stage. And now let's move further. But before moving further, any question?
From my side, clear.
Okay, now a pop-up quiz, and you will be the one who will be answering it. Adnan, read the quiz and answer the question.
Yeah, the whole 11-member team will develop a new revolutionary artificial
Eh,
intelligence to one more. They have been together for 4 months at this stage. The product owner feels comfortable requesting last-minute changes from a uh, res- what is it?
receptive. Yeah.
Receptive and high efficient development team.
Hmm.
Oh,
So
normally, if you are reading the question, you will not answer. The one who listens to the question is more have more chance to.
Okay, so anyone can give the answer. What do you think? At what stage team is in?
I believe that is performing, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Anyone else?
It's performing because they are highly efficient development team, so they are
True.
Yeah.
performing.
Fantastic. And Farhan, I would like you to read this question.
Okay. At this stage, the QA team needs to confront the development team because the development team has not listened to the Q&A team's request to submit the user stories for testing.
Oh,
So they're more at storming stage.
yeah.
Yes.
Storming? Yeah,
Yes.
correct. Yes, Muhammad.
Yes, I have to read the question or
I mean, just read the question and we will together try to
yes.
answer it.
At this stage, the team lead schedules and the activity for the entire team the to get to know each other's better. It is forming.
Fantastic. And then Mustafa.
At this stage, the team lead has not had any confrontations in 2 weeks. The development team has begun listening to the QA team, and deadlines are starting to be met. So I believe this is norming, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, agreed.
The only left one.
Yeah, that's the only one that is left. And then there comes team decision making. And here we are just going to talk about different techniques for decision making. I believe most of you know, but my question will be, do you use any of them while making the decisions during the team meetings or not? The techniques are simple voting, where you basically go for the vote. Majority, we are going for that decision. Or mm, thumbs up, down, or sideways mean, are you agreed, disagreed, or you are neutral? So this is another technique. And then third technique is Highsmith's. Highsmith is one of the person uh, who was among 17 people who developed Agile Manifesto. So instead of asking for yes, no, or asking for yes, no, or neutral, he developed the whole decision spectrum where people can say that, okay, either I am in favor, or maybe I am in favor with some reservations, or I have mixed feeling, or I'm not comfortable, or I am totally against it. Mean the whole spectrum instead of just saying yes or no. This is called Highsmith decision spectrum. And then there comes fist of five. Mean, for example, if someone say one, one mean that I'm not very much agreed, a little bit agreed. Two, I am a bit more agreed than this person. Three, okay, I'm fine. Four, I'm very much agreed, but I have some issues or concerns. Five, I am fully agreed. And then this uh, whole closed fist, that mean I'm totally against it. That's called fist of five technique. All these techniques could be used for the decision making. There are many other techniques as well on top of these techniques, but uh, we are just covering these four techniques here. What do you think, guys? Do you use any of these techniques?
Yes,
Yeah. Which technique do you
simple,
use?
simple voting.
Yeah.
First one.
First one, simple voting. Okay, for example, okay, simple voting technique. So you make decision based on the majority. For example, if there are 6 members and 4 say yes and 2 say no, what do? You go for 4 because 4 is around 66% and 2 is like 33%, and majority is uh, looking for it. But what about the case, for example, there are 9 members and 5 say yes and 4 say no. In that case, there is no clear majority because uh, uh, you can say that none of them is like, you can say like, okay, I think I need to give better example. Uh, let me say, there are 9 members, 4 say yes, 3 say no, and 2 say we don't have any opinion. In that case, what you guys do?
See, we normally, what happens, when such kind of,
Yeah,
voting comes, undecisive situation. So we have one vote of our management guy who
yeah.
has the power of veto or to have for it. So they once they made the equalizer vote, then we go by that.
Okay, that is like more like a bandwagon effect, where like the vote of the manager is vote of everyone, isn't it?
Something like this, yes.
Yeah, true. So here, what I try to explain is, here when you have like more than 50%, it is called majority. Okay, and when you don't have clear majority, mean not more than 50%, for example, in this scenario, then you as a team, in your working agreement, you may say that, okay, if majority doesn't reach, we may go for plurality, mean uh, where there will be more votes, even they are not more than 50%, still we will be going for that decision. But again, you have to make this decision in your team charter. Okay, out of these 4 methods, which method is quickest?
Thumbs up and down.
Here,
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah, this one.
what about simple voting? Is it,
I think it depends on the situation, I think.
if you look, simple voting is just yes or no. It is the much more quicker than any of other methods. However, it really doesn't provide you an option to show your concern as compared to Highsmith decision spectrum or fist of 5. These 2 methods are comparative longer, lengthier, but it provides you option of showing your uh, or express your opinions. However, these 2 methods, they are quicker than these 2 methods. You can adopt any, depends on you, and there are obviously many other methods. A time for J or nay. This is basically a statement. You need to say either J mean yes or nay mean no if you are not agreed with it. I'm reading it and you have to do either J or nay. Jim Highsmith's decision spectrum misses the opportunity for decision refinement. Yay or nay?
Nay.
How many of you are nay?
I am.
Yeah. Anyone?
Yeah.
Anyone who say yay? Yeah.
First
It's
of all, this came from which language, Doctor?
yay and nay. Yeah, I think it's just from English. Just to mean more
Goes to Urdu.
yeah, informal English, yes or no. So basically J or nay. Okay, so the thing is, Jim Highsmith decision spectrum doesn't miss the opportunity of decision refinement. It gives you the opportunity for decision refinement. Mean this answer is nay. And then next, Fist of 5 allows participants to show their degree of agreement, allowing them to display and speak to their concerns. Yay or
Nay.
nay?
Nay.
Yeah.
How many are with the nay?
Me.
Yay. Yay.
I'm with the
Nay.
yes.
So it is J. Uh, Fist of five allows participants to show their degree of agreement, isn't it? One, I am not very much agree.
Oh,
Two,
fist of
I'm
five.
I'm I'm little bit agree. Three,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
fist of five.
yeah.
Yes.
So that's J.
Okay.
Uh, okay. Before ending this session, I am asking one question from each of you. Uh, Muhammad, what are the 2 points from this lesson that stood out for you? You consider them very helpful.
The 2 points.
Yeah, 2 points from this lesson of team development.
The team يعني formatting or the stage of team formatting.
Yeah,
I think يعني useful information how
so,
the
and
steps of creating a team.
Adnan, what do
And
you think? What what is the point that is still puzzling you and you are not sure about it? Is there any point?
As of now, I don't think so, but I like the Tuchman model really.
Yeah, that's good. And Mustafa, any idea you got from this discussion, if you implement for your team, will be helpful.
Definitely. See, from conflict point of view as well, because starting from the team formation till the team performing stage, we could apply lots of things where we can gel in the team altogether. Plus, these voting ideas are really nice because we normally have a very conventional way of voting
Oh,
styles, and we can obviously try different styles, and maybe those could be much more effective for us.
oh, agreed. And that was end of the session for this lesson. We still have around 50 minutes, and we are going to cover our next lesson because it's pretty important uh, because we spent quite a lot of time uh, on the basics. That's why I'm going to shift to lesson two, that is tactical scaling. Are you guys tired? Need a break, or should we continue?
Let's take a 5 minutes break
Yeah,
just to stretch. Yeah, five
yeah,
minutes break.
I
I
would.
think it would be good.
Yeah, surely.
Thanks.
Same. So, uh, emotional intelligence is something that builds over the period of time with your experience, but it really doesn't mean that if you are aged, you have a very good emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence only comes with the learning and the practice. If you will be practicing emotional intelligence, then it will be improving. Otherwise, age really doesn't determine that you are emotionally strong or not. So it is more towards psychology, but it is very helpful while you are dealing with your team, when you are developing your team. And in fact, emotional intelligence is distributed into four quadrants by Daniel Coleman. He was one of the psychiatrists. What he said is that we can divide the emotional intelligence into two components. One is emotional intelligence about yourself, the other one is emotional intelligence about others. Okay, and for yourself, still you can divide it into two components. One is about recognizing your emotions, understanding your emotions, and the next stage is controlling your emotions, regulating your emotions. And when you say that, okay, my emotions mean self emotions, and recognizing or understanding your emotions, it is called self awareness. And All these examples which are shown in self-awareness quadrant are basically example of your self-understanding. It includes self-confidence. I can do this work. Okay. And you really come out of your imposter syndrome. What is imposter syndrome? Not believing in yourself. Oh, I never did, I did very little business analysis work. Now they are giving me the whole responsibility of business analysis. I won't be able to do it, and people will catch me and they will say that, okay, he's not skilled enough. This is called imposter syndrome. Getting rid of imposter syndrome is part of self confidence. Similarly, emotionally self-awareness. It talks about that you know that what are the things that trigger your emotions and in result trigger your behavior, your attitude and your actions. So once you will start understanding those things that trigger your emotions, you are emotionally self-aware. And then accurate self-assessment. This is the assessment of your emotions. Okay. Uh, and you can improve your self-assessment by working on it, by getting help from your senior, from your mentor, so that you should know more about yourself. All these components are part of self-awareness. Then once that is done, then next stage comes, that is self-management. And all these four components which is shown here, including self-control, conscientiousness, adaptability, drive and motivation, is the part of self-management. Would anyone like to comment? What does it mean, self-control?
Self-control is something like you control your anger when you're angry. You don't show your, immediate
Yes,
emotion out. You control it and you understand and then you respond rather than just responding
true, agree.
immediately.
True. Uh, you give a pause instead of like reacting abruptly when you don't like something. You pause, you control your emotions. Maybe just go for a coffee break or something. Okay, and don't reply the email immediately, which is like disturbing you, so that you can control your emotions and can answer in an appropriate way. And then there comes conscientiousness. Anyone? What does it mean, conscientiousness? Conscientiousness is about taking the responsibility, taking your duty seriously, taking your task seriously. If a challenging task is given to you, putting your energy, your effort, and try to completing the task. That is conscientiousness. And then adaptability. Yeah. What do you think, Mustafa?
Yes, in terms of adaptability, that a team player has to be highly adaptive in terms of work and with their respective teams, so that they can gel in with everybody and
True.
highly adapted with the whole working environment.
True. And adjust him or herself according to maybe new working environment or new project team or new working condition or maybe with the new task. All these come under adaptability. And then drive and motivation. From the name, as you can see that once uh, you are self-aware, manage yourself well, then you find the ways that can help you keep moving on, keep motivated, and it really helps you to align your personal objectives with the organizational objectives, with the team objectives, and you keep on completing the tasks in a motivated fashion. And then there comes two other quadrants, and these quadrants are when you are going to deal with the other people. First of them is recognition or understanding, and the second one is uh, regulation or you can say inspiring others or motivating others. Now, firstly, look understanding others. Social awareness, we call it social awareness. Three components. Adnan, what are these three components?
Yes. Let me just zoom it.
Uh,
Inspirational leadership,
yeah,
developing others, teamwork, and collaboration.
yeah. Sorry, I think I'm talking about social awareness. Here, can you see the slide?
Yes.
So, social awareness,
Empathy,
yeah,
organizational awareness, understanding the environment.
yeah. So, empathy is like putting yourself in the shoes of others, considering what other people are thinking, the behavior they are showing, what could be the reason behind it, instead of just straightforward saying going against them. Thinking while keeping yourself in place of others. And organizational awareness or understanding the environment is the working environment or enterprise awareness in which you are doing your job, how to deal with your team members, with other teams, or how to work as per the culture of your organization. And then once you have self-awareness, self-management, understanding others, then you will have the social skills that will help you to inspire others, who will help you to drive others, including influence on the others in a positive fashion so that they can become productive team members. You can show some inspirational leadership. People love to work with you and miss you when you are not working with them. And also developing others professionally and personally and believe in doing the teamwork and collaboration. Mean more like a leader showing leadership skills. For example, uh, um, one feature of a leader is leader always take the credit at the end. Leader is someone who gives credit to the others. Leader is when there is a success, leader basically share that success with the team. And when there is any issue, leader takes it from the front. So this is social skills, and the whole four quadrants are part of emotional intelligence are very, very helpful while developing the teams. So this is one of the important component of senior scrum master. You will be finding a lot of questions not only in the exam simulator but into the actual exam as well. Any question about emotional intelligence?
Yes, doctor, from where I can download this? I don't have this one, this PDF.
Sorry.
How can I download it from where exactly? This one, I don't have it.
Uh, okay, I think uh, let me go back. Now open it for you. Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master. This particular icon is for the students. I am clicking on it. Uh, Student resources. Let's have a look here. Phase 1 pre-work. This is the one. Do you have access?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, then we already talked about coordinating and collaborating across the teams. Uh, let's discuss it little bit further, but we are going to discuss it not from here, but with the help of uh, DA browser. Coordinate activities. You can see this is here. Let's discuss about it. This process goal. This is important. Mm, there could be the questions from coordinated activities. So it means that we can discuss about it. When we think about coordinating activities process goal, basically we think about different aspects. For example, how to share the information, who will be the owner of different artifacts or documents, how to coordinate within the team, how to facilitate a working session, how to coordinate across the program or multiple teams, how to coordinate across the organization, and what about coordination of release when there are multiple teams, and how to coordinate between different locations. Now let's discuss one by one and see that what includes in each of these decision points. And I would request Farhan, let's talk about share information. When we are sharing information, let's have a look what are the agile practices and which are the recommended one and which are the best one.
Okay. In share information, there's non-solo work, pairing, mobbing,
Yeah. So
informal reviews.
yeah.
Okay.
So Farhan,
Yes.
do you do pairing or mobbing?
We have tried pairing,
Yeah.
but not mobbing,
Yeah.
where we have two programmers writing code together. So one is, overshadowing the other to check
True.
and do things like that, and
True.
testing whether the code is right. But we have
Fantastic.
done that as pairing, but not as mobbing, because mobbing, again, I think it is for very, very, you know, professional
True.
development organization like Microsoft might be doing mobbing.
Next level. True.
Next level. We can't afford that also.
I
So
fully
that's
agree. I fully agree. But this is one of the
I
best
mean,
tech.
this is one of the best ways of working, but in practical for smaller enterprise organization, it becomes a little hard to do it.
True.
But yet we try to
Practice
strive
it.
to get that. Yeah.
True. This is also promoted by extreme programming XP method, and it has its own advantages. For example, like the feedback cycle is very short. You are getting the feedback within seconds. I mean, one is developing, other is doing the quality assurance or testing on the same PC, and you are getting the feedback straight away. It results in a very good code. So pair programming is something fantastic, and mobbing is where there are many people working together on one thing that is called mobbing, or in programming it is called mob programming, and it is again one of the best strategy if you can do. The other strategies are the second best is
Informal reviews.
yeah informal
Uh,
yeah uh,
Sorry,
yeah yeah, please
continue.
carry on. So do you do some
That, yes, we do informal reviews are always there, though
mm,
we try to make them formal at times so that they are documented.
mm,
But according to this, I think, they are saying formal is not so
mhm.
much required, but we normally try to do formal reviews of certain points because then they can be documented and produced later.
True. Yeah, the thing is, obviously, informal reviews are quick, they are effective, but in few situations where there are some regulatory requirements There are some compliance requirements from the government, from the senior management, that your review should be formally documented. You can go for formal documentation. There is no issue. But in Agile, normally it is preferred that instead of comprehensive documentation, we should be focusing more on uh, risk-based,
Informal.
yeah, informal way of working. Uh, but it's good to know. And then the last technique is individual or solo work, where basically you do your work and maybe at the end there is a quality control. Okay, and then there comes artifact ownership. Mustafa, what do you think? What is artifact ownership? What it is talking about?
It says collective ownership and disparate ownership.
So
Uh,
yeah,
I'm actually confused right now. What is artifact ownership? But
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So mean in your organization, what is the situation? Can the whole team work on the same artifact, can make the changes in the same artifact, or there are like particular restrictions that who can change an artifact or update an artifact?
No, not everybody can have the access to, work on the same artifact. So there are particular teams which can actually work for that. And
Teams are members.
you can say members, and you can say teams as well, because there are certain situations where, a whole collective team can also work. But, those are uh, people not from, the cross-functional background. Those are, from the same background. For example, those are
Okay,
the same developers or something like this,
true,
not the whole team, the vertical team per se.
true, true,
So
true.
yes, but how do we go about, disparate ownership? What is that?
Disparate or ownership is like where there is, as you suggested, that okay, few individuals can update it, but other team members cannot update it, so on and so forth. That is disparate. But collective ownership is where the team has the ownership and they have the access to upgrade. They have the permissions to upgrade or update an artifact.
I
Uh,
think first we just need to make one thing clear. Artifacts ownership means document ownership.
yeah,
Because a lot of people, when you talk about artifacts, they actually think it's like a prototype or things like that. So
no.
actually,
Uh,
when in agile, artifacts are document, that's what it means, document ownership, right? Over here, the artifact ownership.
True.
Okay.
And then coordinate within teams. Adnan.
Coordination meeting, Scrum meetings, just in time
Mhm,
modeling, just in time planning,
mm.
look ahead modeling, planning, regular conversations, status meetings, visualize work.
Yeah. So when you are basically working as a team, you are doing different ceremonies, different meetings. That could be planning meeting, coordination meeting, so on and so forth. Uh, Discipline agile doesn't say that which meeting is the best one, which meeting is not the best one. Uh, Based on your context, your team context, you might be doing daily scrum, or you are doing, for example, planning meetings or modeling meetings or regular informal conversations or status meetings, or you may have a task boards or information radiators where all the information is there for the purpose of coordination. Uh, so, however, if you are working agile, uh, the best uh, strategies for the sake of coordination to start with are, you should have a task board. uh, you should doing some daily coordination meetings or scrum meetings, and as per your need, you should be doing your modeling. uh, just in time modeling means you are not doing upfront modeling, but you are doing the modeling once it's needed. Now, my question is from Farhan, uh, which one you guys do?
We do a couple of things. We do coordination meetings,
Mhm.
we do regular conversations, and we've started doing visualized work.
Yeah. So do you have some task boards or information radiators?
Yes, we do. We use uh, Jira for it
Or Jira?
right
That is
now.
more
Yeah,
like automated like tool. Yeah.
it's not automated. We do it manually, but we try to put it into that format. So, we
True.
get those uh, exactly how we want to design, because we just don't have three, to do. We have more testing, developing
True.
type of visualized work. So we have a bigger dashboard that we try to display.
Yeah. So it means that you are almost doing the similar practice. And
Some.
and JIT modeling. What do you think about JIT modeling? What it is?
The just-in-time modeling, we haven't worked on it, but I think we use it in a very different way.
Hmm.
I would say we do just-in-time designing.
Oh yeah.
Certain times when we are working from one module to another module, we are trying to design that module after we finish the first module, not
True.
beforehand,
Yeah.
and trying to follow some of these agile practices that, once you learn module one, you might able to be in a better position to design module
Agree.
two rather than doing it upfront. So
True.
that's how
True.
we go about just in time modeling. I
True.
would say do just in time designing.
Yeah, I agree. So let me comment on few things. This is rolling wave planning or progressive elaboration because you do it like just in time manner, um, and it after doing the previous work, it really helps you to have more and more understanding to do better designing or modeling or planning. uh, JIT modeling or JIT planning or designing is more like a lean concept, like a Kanban concept, than as compared to agile concept. Because like normally in agile, at the end of sprint or at the end of iteration, you go for planning or modeling, maybe after 2 weeks. But in Kanban or lean, you do it as needed on demand basis. Uh, that's called the JIT. And anyone know the difference between modeling and planning? There is very subtle. Yeah, yeah, please.
I think between the two, modeling is like something like, what I told you, designing or things. Planning is like creating your plan as your project plan getting modified, or role wave planning, as you just said, that we use in PMP
Yeah.
method to, create your plan as we go ahead rather than doing it upfront.
So, so rolling wave planning or modeling, as you said that do planning or modeling as you go. That's rolling wave planning or modeling. The difference between planning and modeling is very subtle, very minor difference. Planning is where you plan what to do, and modeling is you model what to do. So that's the that subtle difference. I mean, in planning, it could be like a textual form, but in modeling, normally you create the model, what to do next. So a very subtle difference. Uh, and then there comes facilitate a working session. Uh, Mustafa.
Agile modeling session, open space, big room planning, joint application design sessions.
So do you do any of them?
Apparently, no.
Yeah, and that's all right. And this is normally done by like people who are working on the solution development. If you are
Yeah.
working on the solution development, maybe you are doing it. Uh, Adnan, do you do any of them?
No, we are in the operation side, so we are not doing anything of this.
Yeah, a little bit different than this, isn't it? And Farhan?
So we do big room planning.
Yeah,
because we all meet in the big meeting room and then we plan it. So we use that approach.
Yeah, normally it is done like maybe quarterly, not very often. Or do you do
No,
often?
we have two things. One is like we have a weekly meeting
Hmm.
and a monthly meeting.
Hmm.
So it's every week also we meet, but the big room planning is generally done on a monthly
Yeah,
basis.
yeah. Normally with less frequency as compared to your weekly meeting, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
big room planning is something where normally most of the stakeholders they join you in a big room, and normally this type of uh, meeting is done with less frequency, but for example, for your next release or next set of important work, and normally it is facilitated by a skilled facilitator, or even there could be more than one facilitators, and people may join even from your office or maybe from other offices of your organization. However, at the team level, normally you go for agile modeling session, and agile modeling sessions are very simple. You just come together as a team, and on a whiteboard or a task board with the help of some sticky notes, you basically model or plan for your next set of tasks. Uh, so this is the facilitate working session, and then coordinate across the programs. Uh, Adnan.
Yes, architecture on our team, common cadences, coordination meetings, Scrum meetings, diverse cadence, facilitated working sessions, management team, open space, product coordination team, product owner team, program manager, coordinator, Scrum of Scrums, SOS, and visualize work.
Well, coordinate across program mean when you have a program, mean under which there could be multiple projects, there could be multiple teams, multiple sub teams. How you can coordinate it? Many different techniques are given, but the recommended techniques are that you should not only have your sub teams, but also you have teams of product owners, you have teams of team leaders or agile coaches, you have team of architecture owners. Not only your teams are your team is meeting with each other, but also your architecture owner is meeting with other architecture owners, or your product owner is meeting with other uh, product owners, so on so forth. Similarly, you can have not only your team level uh, uh, task board or team level information board, you may have a board for program level where the performance of all the teams could be shown. Uh, and then there comes next, coordinate across the organizations. Uh, Mustafa.
Yes. Enterprise professional as team member, enterprise roadmaps detailed, enterprise roadmaps light, enterprise service teams, facilitated working session.
So on the organization level, you can meet with your team members. You can use enterprise roadmaps for the sake of coordination across the organization. Uh, there could be service teams to whom you are coordinating. There could be facilitated working sessions, so on, so forth. And then there comes coordinate release schedule. Mean again, it is when there is a program, there are multiple teams working on different projects or releases of the same product. In that case, how you will ensure that the releases, the work completed that need to be shifted to the production from different teams, it is well scheduled and well coordinated. Uh, Different techniques are given here, very important. Farhan, let's have a look on them.
Mm. Continuous development,
Deployment.
CD, sorry, continuous deployment, release stream, regular releases, release stream, release windows, unique project releases, none.
Okay, so if it is like very small team or startup, you might need not to release anything into the production. Uh, Obviously, it's not the best technique. And then if you are a project team, you are not a product team, or you are not a part of a program team. And what happens is you keep on creating your features, your artifacts, you are completing your requirements. And at the end, what you do, you whatever you completed, the whole project or whole project outcome, you release it into the production. This is called unique project releases. Normally, it's the case when you have a funding for a single project, when your team is a project team. Uh, and then there comes three techniques: release windows, release trains, and release streams. If your organization is comparatively new to agile or shifting to agile or not very agile, teams are still learning agiles, you don't have infrastructure or facilities, one of the good point to start is release windows. What does it mean? It means that okay, you can release whatever you develop, for example, on each uh, for example, there are release windows or spaces that your program managers determine, okay, that on each Tuesday you will be releasing your features into the production. Okay, but for example, you have to release your features into the production maybe 2 a.m. at night, because at that time your systems or your applications are not used by the production teams or the users or the clients. I mean, you should take care of blackout times. uh, Maybe yeah, and then there comes release trains. Safe is one of the enterprise level framework. They use release trains. What is the concept of release trains? Basically, it says that it's just like a train. uh, and what you do is when it passes through and reach to your station, whatever features you have developed, you put it on the release train, and it goes and transit it to the production. uh, it is very good, but still uh, it is not as good as,
Doctor, we can give an example of car production for the release train, for example.
yeah. Okay, so okay, let me share whiteboard. Okay, so firstly, let's understand release windows. Release windows are okay. So this is your schedule. This is the whole your schedule. For example, this one, your schedule, your product, your program manager, they tell you that okay, these are the release windows, these are the timings available. For example, this week it is Tuesday 2 a.m. and this week this is Wednesday 1 a.m., where you as a teams, multiple teams, whatever work you have completed, whatever features you have completed, feature 1, feature 2, and then for example feature 3, feature 4, you can now release it on this particular window. Okay, you cannot release it anytime else. Okay, because like another time maybe users are using the system, using the product. For example, they are using immigration website. Okay, and there is a lot of traffic. At that time you must not be releasing anything. You can only release it on release windows. Rest of, and also there could be some blackout periods where there is a lot of congestion on the website and you must not release at that time. This is release window. Similarly, uh, what is release train? This concept is something like that. um, just like normal train. Okay. As train passes through a station, okay, uh, whoever passengers they wanna go and sit on the train, they can go and sit. Okay. Uh, Similar is the concept of release train when it is notified, uh, okay, that there will be release train available on, for example, Monday, 9 a.m. All the teams, whatever work they have completed, okay, for example, feature one, this, feature two from team two, feature four from team three, whatever work is completed, you can put it here and it will go into the production. This is called uh, release train. And then there comes a concept of release streams. Uh, Release stream is the mean something that is very efficient, very agile, but it requires a very good sophisticated infrastructure, sophisticated practices, uh, automated tools. But advantage is whenever you develop any feature, uh, your team develop any feature, they can release it into the production. You need not to wait for a window. You need not to wait for the release train. That is called continuous deployment. Let me give you example of Amazon. Do you know how often Amazon is releasing new features into their website or to their systems? They are doing it many times a day. Even in seconds, they are releasing new features into the production. But we as a user, as a client, we even don't have a feeling that this Amazon web portal is updating continuously. How they did it? They do it with the help of release stream, or we call it continuous deployment. Maybe you heard about continuous integration, continuous deployment. Continuous integration is basically when your code is integrated with your previous code. Your new code is integrated with the previous code after doing the integration testing. Okay. And continuous deployment is where your integrated code is shifted into the production. But most of the organizations in the world, they have not reached to release stream level. Okay. So that's the difference. And obviously we can read more about it on DA browser. For example, here, if I click here, release schedule, you can see here all the details are given. What is continuous deployment or release stream? What are regular release trains? What are release windows? So on and so forth. And their advantages, disadvantages, where they can be used best, everything is given here. And then there comes the last decision point, coordinate between the locations. When you have like team members distributed, then how can you coordinate? Yeah, Mustafa.
Yes. Move team to a single location, gather physically at critical times, adapt collaborative tools, ambassadors, boundary spanners.
So what it is saying that the best thing Agile recommends is that your team should be co-located, but it might not be practical in your organization. You might have a lot of uh, you might have a lot of members who are working virtually or maybe working in different different levels of the same building, but still they are not co-located. Maybe they are working in different offices in the same city or same country or maybe in multiple countries. So uh, recommended is they should be co-located, or at least they should be gathered together on critical times. But if it's not possible, the best starting points are you can use collaborative tools like, for example, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or Jira, or Confluence. And also another technique is boundary spanners. Boundary spanners are those people who can work with uh, with different team members or different offices so that there should be a flow of information going on. Mean a person who is working 2 days in one office, 2 days in another office, they are normally called boundary spanners. And they could be the guys who can be working in multiple teams just to improve the coordination between the locations. So this is coordinate activities. There could be some concepts that you might not get cleared because there is a lot of information. But good thing is everything is available here. You can go through and you can read more about it. Any questions?
You're good. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys. It's already mean 13 minutes more than our schedule. Sorry for that, but it was important to cover the key content. Next week, then we will be resuming again from tactical scaling.
First, just before you go, one question.
Yep.
Is there a place where we can go and see these recordings during the week? Because, now we are away for 5, 6 days, and, instead of forgetting everything, if there is a place where we can see your recording again.
Sure, I will be sharing with you. In meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'm sharing the previous recording. Okay. And